Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to Playbook Radio. My name is Martin Williams. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. You may do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. All the links to the podcast can be found at gameplanplaybook.com. That's gameplanplaybook.com. So today I want to talk to you about process over progress. Whenever the NFL season starts, people get excited. The NFL is the number one sport in America. Even though the World Cup got more American viewers than usual this year because it was hosted here, make no mistake, American football is still the number one sport in this country. So when the players come back to training camp, it's all eyes on training camp. And for a long time, training camp wasn't open to the press. And honestly, that was probably a good thing. When players come back from a long off season, they're trying to get their bearings, get the muscle memory back, get their timing back. And it's going to look ugly on a day-to-day basis. But now the press is invited to training camp, and every practice is scrutinized, and it creates a distortion. If a player looks good one day, the coverage gets overly enthusiastic. If a player looks bad, the coverage gets overly negative. Fans read this and start overreacting to how a player looks day to day. It's deceptive because it's just practice, and it's practice after a long layoff. I bring all this up because it's the same thing that happens when we're trying to lose weight, get out of debt, build a business, or rebuild a relationship. On a day-to-day basis, it doesn't look like anything's happening. That's actually one of the reasons some doctors tell you not to weigh yourself every day. Your weight fluctuates day to day. If you lose a few pounds quickly, you get overconfident and your process slips. If the weight doesn't move, or God forbid it goes up, you get discouraged and start telling yourself, this isn't working, what's the use? There's no real benefit of taking a snapshot of where you are mid-process, And that's why in my coaching philosophy, tracking matters is one of the playbook principles. We should track, however, process over progress, especially when you're getting started. We overreact to snapshots. Some really good quarterbacks, some really good players look awful in training camp, but the context matters. They might be coming off a long layoff. They may have a new coaching staff, a new scheme, new plays to learn. The time to learn and get better is in practice. You can improve during the game, sure, but ideally you want to work things out and perfect them behind the scenes so that when the lights come on, you're operating at a higher level. So remember, when you're making a life change, losing weight, building a business, breaking through in any area, the day-to-day process has to be the focus. If you focus on the results too early, you'll quit. Either you'll think you've made it and ease off, or you'll think it's not working and give up. You're much better off focusing on the process. If you're starting a business or creating content, the temptation is to obsess over the views, the listens, the clicks. I wouldn't do that for at least the first 90 days. I'm repeating myself here on purpose because I want it to land. If you get too sure of yourself, you'll slack off. If you get too discouraged, you'll stop altogether. There's no upside to overanalyzing progress before the habit is even formed. The time to look at the progress is once the habit is formed. Neuroscience researchers disagree on the exact number. Some say 21 days, some say 60 days. I've read 67 days, but to be safe, I'd say 90 days. At that point, the habit is more or less locked in, and that's the first time you should really look at your progress. Now, if you're doing a weight loss program and your doctor wants you weighing in more often, do what your doctor says. But even then, I wouldn't put too much stock in the number unless your doctor is concerned. It's far more important to focus on your water intake, your protein intake, eat more fruits and vegetables, and stay consistent with your exercise than to obsess over the number on the scale. The number on the scale is a byproduct of the process. Give yourself over to the process, and the progress takes care of itself. There's something about attention here as well. When we focus on the day-to-day process, getting better, getting more consistent, the bigger picture has a way of working itself out. Focus on the details, and the big picture tends to correct itself. Posting every day, working on a product every day until it's ready to release, working on your relationship with your family or even a relationship with yourself, that's all part of the day-to-day process. If you don't do the day-to-day stuff, the big picture stuff doesn't happen. The number on the scale won't be where it needs to be. The business income won't be where it needs to be. It's simple. The day-to-day stuff is what gives birth to the big picture stuff. It's easy to take a snapshot and beat yourself up over it. I had a bad food day. Excuse me. I ate fast food when I shouldn't have. I didn't post today. But the move is to get back on it tomorrow. Don't beat yourself up over a bad day. Understand that the process is how you get to the promise. I'll leave you with this. There's a preacher named Creflo Dollar. He's been somewhat controversial, but he says a lot of good stuff. Years ago, he referenced a scripture from Hebrews 6:12, which in the New King James Version, reads that you should not become sluggish, but imitate those who through faith and patience inherit the promise. Through faith and patience. What does that sound like to you? That sounds like practice. Faith means showing up every day and believing. Patience rather means not needing the result right away, not getting discouraged because you didn't drop the weight you wanted to drop in a week. Through faith and patience, you inherit the promise. In other words, the promise is in the practice. You have to practice these things. For me, it means planning my day before it starts, doing my mindset work, visualizing the outcome that I want, executing at a high level when it's time to execute. All of that is a practice. And on a day-to-day basis, it can feel boring. It can be hard at times. It may not look the way that it needs to look because it feels like nothing's happening. The number isn't moving. The needle isn't moving. The number in the bank account isn't moving. The sales aren't moving. The number on the scale isn't moving. So what's the point? But if you look at it that way, you're looking at it in the wrong way. It's process over progress when you're starting, because if you perfect the practice, the progress takes care of itself. So thank you so much for listening. My name is Martin Williams. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll talk to you soon.